Clinical studies reveal a shocking truth. 40 to 60% of cats are overweight, yet most owners remain completely unaware. You might think your cat is just cuddly or big-boned, but they are actually carrying excess inflammatory fat. If this silent epidemic continues, the consequences are devastating. Diabetes, crippling arthritis, advanced heart disease, and fatal fatty liver disease. Make no mistake, ignoring this obesity crisis will definitively lead to a significantly shorter lifespan for the animal you love most. I am Dr. Whiskers, a leading feline specialist here in the U.S. pet market. I have spent my entire career inside the treatment rooms and emergency clinics, fighting on the front lines of feline medicine. I've held the hands of devastated pet parents who realized too late that the commercial pet food industry had weaponized their love and set them up to fail. I am here to empower you with the unvarnished clinical truth that many veterinarians simply do not have the time to explain during a standard 15-minute appointment. In today's masterclass, I am going to make you 3 massive promises. First, I am going to expose the 5 fatal behavioral mistakes that make feline weight loss an absolute nightmare for both you and your cat. And for every single mistake, I will give you a highly valuable, perfectly actionable solution that you can implement tonight. Second, I am going to provide you with a science-based weight loss blueprint specifically tailored to the unique anatomy of different cat breeds. And finally, I will reveal a $1 kitchen preparation hack that biologically tricks your cat's brain into feeling completely full, helping them stay healthy, lean, and live years longer alongside your family. Let's get to work. Part 1. The 5 fatal mistakes and their clinical solutions. We have to completely rebuild the way you interact with your cat in your kitchen and your living room. Here are the 5 devastating mistakes you are likely making and exactly how to fix them. Mistake 1. The guilt-feeding syndrome. Let's talk about the psychological trap of modern American pet ownership. You work 10, maybe 12-hour shifts. When you finally unlock your front door, exhausted and drained, your cat runs to you, weaving through your legs and vocalizing loudly. The guilt of leaving them alone all day washes over you. In that moment of emotional vulnerability, you reach for the bag of treats or pour a heaping scoop of dry kibble into their bowl. You are using food as an apology. You are translating your love and guilt into unnecessary calories. The clinical solution, the prey sequence replacement. You must stop equating food with affection. Your cat is not necessarily crying because they are starving. They are crying because they are chronically understimulated. They have been staring at the same 4 walls all day. When you get home, bypass the food bowl completely. Instead, grab a wand toy with a feather attachment. You are going to initiate the prey sequence: stalk, pounce, kill, eat. Engage them in intense acrobatic play for just 15 minutes. Make them run, jump, and flip. Only after they have burned off that pent-up energy do you offer them a small, measured portion of their evening meal. You have replaced guilt with genuine, enriching love. Mistake 2. The Ad-Lib feeding trap, the grazing disconnect. This is perhaps the most common and destructive mistake in the entire pet industry. A lot of people leave dry food out in their cat's bowl all day long. They just let the cat graze whenever they want to graze. You assume that your cat knows how to self-regulate. They do not. In the wild, a cat's stomach is designed to expand for a meal after a successful hunt, and then remain empty for hours as they digest and rest. By providing a bottomless buffet of high-carbohydrate kibble, you are keeping their insulin levels chronically spiked. Their bodies never enter a fat-burning state. The clinical solution: strict portion control. You can't do ad-lib feeding anymore. You have to start to give your cat a strictly measured amount of food. You must pick up the bowl. Calculate your cat's daily caloric requirement with your veterinarian and divide that exact amount into 2 to 3 distinct meals per day. If they do not finish their meal within 30 minutes, you pick the bowl up and put it away until the next scheduled feeding time. You are establishing metabolic boundaries. Mistake 3. The 3 a.m. surrender, negotiating with terrorists. When you finally transition away from free feeding, your carbohydrate-addicted cat is going to rebel, and they are going to do it at the exact moment you are most vulnerable, 3 a.m. They will scratch at your bedroom door, knock glasses off your nightstand, and howl into the darkness. Because you are exhausted and desperate for sleep before your morning commute, you drag yourself out of bed and put a handful of food in their bowl just to buy some peace and quiet. Congratulations, you have just trained your cat that nighttime terrorism equals a caloric reward. The clinical solution, the automated buffer zone. You must completely remove yourself from the food-providing equation during the night. Invest in a high-quality, programmable automatic feeder. Set it to dispense a tiny, pre-measured fraction of their daily allowance at exactly 3:30 a.m. When the cat hears the mechanical whir of the feeder, their focus shifts entirely from you in the bedroom to the machine in the kitchen. You get your sleep, your cat gets a tiny metabolic bridge to morning, and you have successfully broken the psychological link between their screaming and your actions. Mistake 4. The multi-cat vacuum effect. If you live in a multi-cat household, you likely face this paradox. One cat is incredibly thin or a picky eater, and the other cat is morbidly obese. Because your thin cat prefers to eat slowly over several hours, you leave the food out all day to accommodate them. But your obese cat acts as a biological vacuum cleaner, coming behind the thin cat and aggressively clearing the bowl. You are sacrificing the health of your overweight cat to appease the eating habits of your thin cat. The clinical solution, microchip-activated feeding hubs. You must physically separate their access to calories. The most elegant solution is investing in microchip-activated pet feeders. These devices have a plastic lid that only opens when it scans the specific veterinary microchip embedded in the back of your cat's neck. The thin cat gets a designated feeder that stays open only for them, allowing them to graze safely. When the overweight vacuum cat approaches, the lid snaps shut. Problem solved, zero stress. Mistake 5, the weight management kibble trap. When you realize your cat is heavy, your first instinct is to go to the pet store and buy an expensive bag of dry food with the words weight management or indoor formula plastered across the front. You think you are doing the right thing, but if you turn that bag around and read the ingredients, you will see the deception. To lower the fat content while maintaining the shape of the dry pellet, pet food manufacturers pack these diets with cheap, high-glycemic carbohydrates like corn gluten meal, wheat, and brewer's rice. These carbohydrates instantly convert to sugar in your cat's bloodstream, storing directly as visceral fat. The clinical solution, the high-protein, high-moisture pivot. If your cat is obese, you are probably going to find it much better to use a specialized weight loss diet, but you must transition them off dry food as much as possible. You need to pivot to a high-quality canned food diet. Canned food is vastly superior because it is packed with appropriate animal proteins and vital moisture, while stripping out the starchy carbohydrates. Protein maintains their lean muscle mass while they lose weight, ensuring they are burning actual fat, not muscle. Part 2. The Science-Based Breed Blueprint. Not all cats are built the same, and applying a generic one-size-fits-all weight loss strategy is a recipe for failure. To truly help your cat, we must understand their specific physical framework. First, let's establish the universal baseline. You need to understand the body condition score, BCS, which is essentially a score between 1 and 5. A score of 1 means the cat is far too thin, with bones visibly sticking out. A score of 3 is the absolute ideal. When you look at your cat, you can't see any bones sticking out, but when you pet them along the ribs, you can just feel the outline of the bone beneath a healthy, thin layer of fat. When a cat reaches a score of 4, they are overweight. You can no longer feel their ribs when you run your hand along their side, and you will notice a droopy pouch swinging underneath their abdomen when they walk. A score of 5 means morbid obesity. Looking at them from above, they resemble a circular shape, and their abdomen may be getting close to dragging on the ground. Here is how you apply this knowledge to specific breed archetypes. 1. The heavy-duty giants, Maine Coons, Ragdolls, Norwegian forest cats. These breeds are genetically massive, often naturally weighing between 15 and 20 pounds when perfectly healthy. The mistake owners make is assuming that because they are a big breed, a thick layer of fat is acceptable. It is not. Because these cats have such massive skeletal structures, any excess weight puts catastrophic, exponentially damaging pressure on their joints. The blueprint, weight loss for these giants must be incredibly slow to protect their livers. You must rely purely on the tactile body condition score. Bury your fingers deep into their thick fur. If you cannot easily palpate the ribs without pressing hard, they need a caloric deficit. For exercise, avoid high-impact jumping, which can tear ligaments. Focus on flat ground laser pointer chasing or leash walking them outside. 2. The cobby and brachycephalic breeds, Persians, British Shorthairs, exotic Shorthairs. These cats are anatomically described as cobby. They have short, thick bodies, deep chests, and flat faces. By nature, they are incredibly sedentary. They prefer to sleep on a velvet pillow rather than hunt a fake mouse. Furthermore, their dense coats perfectly camouflage dangerous fat deposits. The blueprint. You cannot rely on visual cues with these breeds. You must put your hands on them daily. Because they are inherently lazy, you have to trick them into moving. Utilize food puzzles. If you are giving them a measured portion of dry kibble, do not put it in a bowl. Put it in a dispensing ball that they physically have to push around the living room floor. Make them earn every single calorie through low-intensity, sustained movement. 3. The athletic and foreign breeds, Siamese, Bengals, Abyssinians, Oriental Shorthairs. These cats are the elite athletes of the feline world. They are supposed to be incredibly sleek, tubular, and highly muscular. When a Siamese or Bengal becomes overweight, it is a severe indicator of profound environmental boredom and massive overfeeding. The blueprint. These cats have sky-high metabolic rates and brilliant minds. To get them to lose weight, you must focus on verticality and high-intensity interval training. Install cat shelves on your walls. Place their measured meals on the highest shelf, so they are forced to the climb and leap to access their food. Use complex puzzle feeders that require them to actively problem solve. For these breeds, mental exhaustion burns almost as many calories as physical exertion. Part 3. The $1 kitchen hack and outro. Now we arrive at my final promise. The most difficult part of putting a cat on a diet is dealing with their genuine feelings of hunger during the transition. When you cut their calories, their stomach volume is still stretched out from months of overeating, and they will feel empty. I am going to give you a clinical hack that costs less than $1, takes 30 seconds to prepare, and completely rewires your cat's satiety signals. Go to your pantry and take out a standard 5-ounce can of high-quality, high-protein wet food. Scoop out your cat's strictly measured portion for that specific meal. Let's say it's 1.5 ounces of pâté. Place it in their bowl. Now turn on your faucet and get the water warm. Not hot, not cold. It needs to be roughly 98 degrees Fahrenheit. This specific temperature is crucial because it flawlessly mimics the body heat of freshly caught prey in the wild, triggering your cat's primal olfactory senses. Take 2 to 3 tablespoons of this warm water and pour it directly over the pate. Take a fork and aggressively mash the water and the meat together until it forms a thick, voluminous soup. Here is the medical magic behind what you just did. You haven't added a single calorie to the bowl, but you have drastically increased the physical volume of the meal. When your cat laps up this warm soup, the heavy liquid physically stretches the walls of their stomach. This mechanical stretching instantly activates the vagus nerve, which runs directly from the gut to the brain. The vagus nerve fires a massive signal to the hypothalamus shouting, "The stomach is completely full, stop eating." You have successfully tricked their neurology. Your cat walks away from the bowl feeling like they just ate a massive Thanksgiving dinner, completely satisfied and deeply hydrated, while actually consuming a metabolically appropriate, calorie-restricted meal. This simple addition of water also flushes their kidneys, protects their bladder from crystal formation, and drastically reduces the risk of urinary tract blockages, all for the cost of tap water. You must weigh your cat regularly to ensure this process is working safely. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Engage with your local veterinary clinic, take your cat in, and get them accurately weighed every 2 weeks. If you do this, you will slowly watch their weight come down until they reach that perfect body condition score of 3. Weight loss is not about punishing your cat. It is about saving them. It is about actively peeling away the layers of inflammatory fat that are suffocating their organs and grinding down their joints. It is about buying back the years you almost lost. You have the knowledge now. You have the blueprint. Stop feeding the guilt and start feeding their health. Put down the bag of carbohydrate-loaded dry food, pick up the wand toy, and let's get your best friend back to the sleek, magnificent predator they were born to be. You can do this, and your cat will silently thank you for the rest of their long, vibrant life. If today's masterclass opened your eyes and you are ready to take back control of your cat's health, hit that subscribe button right now. We are building an absolute army of educated, fierce, and uncompromising feline advocates, and we need you in this community. Drop a comment below and tell me your cat's current body condition score on that 1 to 5 scale. Remember, this is a completely judgment-free zone, and we are in this together. And before we go, a very important reminder. The information provided in this video is strictly for educational and informational purposes. I'm Dr. Whiskers. Thank you for fighting for your feline family. I'll see you in the next video.